I walked into my bakery at 6 in the morning to prep for the Saturday rush, and there was my fiancé's sister behind the counter, reorganizing my display cases like she owned the place. Rachel looked up when she heard the door, not the slightest bit embarrassed. "Oh good, you're here. I was just improving the layout. The way you had things arranged wasn't optimal for customer flow. I took a marketing class in college, so I know what I'm doing." I set down my purse and apron, staring at the completely rearranged pastry display that I'd spent 3 years perfecting. The croissants that were supposed to be eye level were now shoved to the bottom shelf. My signature lavender honey cakes, which always sold out by noon, were hidden in the back corner. "Rachel, how did you get in here?" She jangled a set of keys. "James gave me a spare. You know, just in case you need help." My jaw tightened. I'd specifically told James that only I and my assistant manager Keisha had keys. This was my business. I'd saved for 6 years to open Sweet Haven Bakery in downtown Portland. Every piece of equipment, every recipe, every customer relationship was built by me alone. James had no right to give you keys without asking me first. Rachel waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, Maya, don't be so uptight. We're going to be family soon. What's yours is ours, right?" She smiled, but her eyes were calculating. "Besides, I have some really good ideas for this place. You're doing okay, but with my help, you could be doing great." I took a deep breath, walked to her, and held out my hand. "The keys, Rachel, now." "But I'm just trying to help." "I didn't ask for help. Keys, now." She huffed, dropped them in my palm with a dramatic sigh, and grabbed her designer purse. "You know, James said you could be difficult about your business. I was hoping we could work together, but I see you're not a team player." She walked past me, her heels clicking on the tile floor. "I'll tell Mom and James how ungrateful you are." The door chimed as she left. I stood there holding the keys, my hands shaking with anger. This was the 3rd time in 2 months that someone from James's family had overstepped. First, his mother, Linda, had posted on social media that she was co-managing my bakery. Then his brother showed up asking for a family discount that amounted to free food. Now this. I texted James immediately. "We need to talk. Your sister had keys to my bakery and was rearranging things. Why did you give her keys without asking me?" His response came 20 minutes later. "Sorry. She said she wanted to help. Didn't think it was a big deal. Can we talk later? I'm at the gym." Not a big deal. My life's work, and it wasn't a big deal. I met James 2 years ago at a farmer's market where I was selling my baked goods. He was charming, easygoing, worked in IT sales. He made decent money, had his own apartment, seemed stable. We dated for a year before he proposed. I said yes because I thought he respected my independence, my ambition. He'd never shown interest in running the bakery. He seemed content with his own career. But the moment we got engaged 6 months ago, his family descended like locusts. His mother Linda started calling herself the baker's future mother-in-law and showing up during business hours to supervise. His sister Rachel, who'd never held a job for more than a year, suddenly became an expert on business optimization. His brother Kyle treated my bakery like his personal pantry. And James? James said I was overreacting. "They're just excited about the wedding. They want to be involved." That evening, James came over to my apartment above the bakery. I'd moved in 3 months ago to save on rent and be close to work. It was small but mine, paid for entirely with bakery profits. "Baby, about this morning," he started, trying to hug me. I stepped back. "You gave your sister keys to my business without asking." "I know. I'm sorry. She called me last night crying. She lost her job again, and she's really struggling. She said she wanted to help out, learn the business. Maybe you could hire her." "Hire her?" "James, she rearranged my entire display without permission. She has no experience in food service. She's just trying to prove herself. Give her a chance. This isn't a charity. This is my livelihood." He rubbed his face, looking frustrated. "See, this is what my mom was talking about. You're so rigid about everything being yours. We're getting married. What's yours becomes ours." "No," I said firmly. "I opened this bakery before we met. I took out loans, worked 2 jobs, built every single thing from scratch. This is mine legally, and will remain mine legally." "Wow." He laughed bitterly. "So you don't trust me?" "I trust you. I don't trust giving up control of my business. My family just wants to help. Your family wants to take over. We argued for another hour. Eventually, James apologized again, promised to talk to Rachel, said it wouldn't happen again. I wanted to believe him. I loved him. Or at least, I loved the version of him that existed before the engagement, before his family started circling like sharks. The next week passed tensely. Rachel didn't come back, but Linda did. She showed up every morning at opening time with a different excuse. I brought muffin recipes from my grandmother. I wanted to see how you make the coffee. I'm meeting a friend nearby and thought I'd stop in. Each time, she'd walk around like she was inspecting the place, commenting on everything. You should hire more staff. These prices are too low. Have you thought about expanding to a second location? My assistant manager Keisha pulled me aside on Thursday. Boss, I don't want to overstep, but James's mom is making the staff uncomfortable. Yesterday she told Carmen she was frosting the cupcakes wrong. Carmen's been doing this for 2 years. I sighed. I know, I'm handling it. You sure? Because she's also been asking questions about our suppliers, our profit margins, stuff that's none of her business. That concerned me. What kind of questions? Like who owns the business, if you have partners, how the LLC is set up. I shut it down, but it was weird. Very weird. That night, I met with my best friend Simone at a wine bar. Simone and I had been friends since culinary school. She owned a catering company and understood the struggles of running a food business. Girl, they're circling, she said after I told her everything. I've seen this before. Family members who think they can take over because we're family. But James wouldn't let that happen, right? Simone gave me a look. Maya, he already gave his sister keys without asking. He's already defending their behavior. How much more evidence do you need? He's just conflict avoidant. He doesn't like confrontation. He doesn't mind confrontation with you, though. Only with his family. I hated that she was right. The next Monday, I received a call from my business bank. Miss Chen, we received an inquiry about adding authorized signers to your business account. We wanted to confirm this with you directly before proceeding. My blood ran cold. I didn't make any such request. The inquiry came from a Linda Morrison. She claimed to be a co-owner of Sweet Haven Bakery. She's not. She has no ownership stake whatsoever. Please flag my account. No changes without in-person verification from me with photo ID. Absolutely. We'll make a note. Would you like to file a fraud report? I hesitated. If I filed a report, this became official. Legal. Let me think about it. But definitely block that request. Done. We'll send you written confirmation. I hung up and sat in my office, hands shaking. Linda had tried to add herself to my business bank account. This wasn't just overstepping anymore. This was attempted fraud. I called James immediately. Your mother just tried to add herself as an authorized signer on my business bank account. What? That can't be right. The bank called me to confirm. They said Linda Morrison claimed to be a co-owner. There has to be a misunderstanding. James, there's no misunderstanding. Your mother tried to access my business finances. Let me talk to her and call you back. He called back an hour later. I talked to Mom. She said she was just asking questions about how business accounts work because Rachel wants to start her own business. The bank must have misunderstood. The bank doesn't misunderstand an application to add authorized signers. Mom wouldn't lie to me. But I would? I didn't say that. You're choosing to believe her over me. Maya, you're being paranoid. My family likes you. They're just trying to be helpful. Helpful? James, can't you see what's happening? I see you pushing my family away right before our wedding. That's what I see. We fought until I was too exhausted to continue. He left angry. I stayed up all night, going through my business documents, making sure everything was in order. The LLC was solely in my name. The lease, the equipment loans, the business bank accounts, everything. James had never contributed financially. We'd kept our finances completely separate, and he'd never even asked to be involved. Until now. The next morning, Keisha found me asleep at my desk in the office. Maya, you okay? I told her everything. She listened, her expression darkening. You need to talk to a lawyer, she said. Like, today. She was right. I called my attorney, David Chen, who'd helped me set up the LLC 3 years ago. I explained the situation. Maya, this is serious, he said. If they're attempting to access your business accounts, they might try other things. Have you checked your business licenses, your EIN? Make sure no one has filed any paperwork claiming co-ownership. How would they do that? Forged documents, fake operating agreements. I've seen it happen. Family members who think they're entitled to a piece of a business will sometimes file fraudulent paperwork with the state. That's illegal. Yes. And it happens more often than you'd think, especially in family situations where people feel entitled. I spent the rest of the day checking everything: business license, state LLC registration, federal EIN, everything was correct. Only my name appeared as owner and officer. But David's words stayed with me. If they tried once, they might try again. That evening, James came over with flowers and takeout. "I'm sorry about yesterday," he said. "I talked to my mom again. She swears it was a misunderstanding, but she won't contact your bank again." I made that clear. I wanted to believe him. I wanted things to go back to normal. Okay. And I was thinking, maybe we should push back the wedding a few months. Give everyone time to calm down, figure things out. Push back the wedding? Just a few months. My mom's been stressed, Rachel's going through stuff, and you're overwhelmed with the bakery. Maybe some space would help. Or maybe your family needs to respect boundaries. They will, I promise. Just give them another chance. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We set a new wedding date for next spring instead of this December. I told myself it was the right decision, that things would get better with more time. They didn't. 2 weeks later, Rachel showed up at the bakery again, this time during the lunch rush. She walked in with a portfolio and approached the counter where I was helping customers. "Maya, perfect timing. I put together a business proposal for Sweet Haven. I have ideas for expansion, marketing strategies, and a restructuring plan that would increase profits by at least 30%. Rachel, I'm working. This isn't a good time, but I spent weeks on this." She opened the portfolio right there at the counter, showing pages of charts and graphs to confused customers waiting for their coffee. "See, you're not utilizing social media effectively. And your menu is too limited. You need to add lunch items, maybe wine in the evenings. Rachel, please." "Not now." "When then?" "You never want to talk about improving the business." A customer coughed uncomfortably. Another left the line. "Rachel, you need to leave. You're disrupting my business." Her face reddened. "Disrupting? I'm trying to help you. Do you know how many businesses fail in the first 5 years? You need someone with business sense, and clearly, that's not you since you're still running this tiny operation after 3 years. That's when I snapped. "Get out. Now. James is going to hear about this." "Good. Tell him." She stormed out, and I had to apologize to the customers. Keisha pulled me aside after the rush died down. "Boss, I need to tell you something. Rachel came in yesterday when you were at the bank. She was asking the staff about how we operate, who does what, trying to get information. What kind of information? She wanted to know who had keys, who could open and close, who had access to the safe, the inventory system, everything." My stomach dropped. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I'm telling you now." I kicked her out, but Maya, she's planning something. I can feel it. I trusted Keisha's instincts. I immediately changed all the locks, all the alarm codes, and told my staff that only I and Keisha were authorized to be in the bakery outside business hours. I also installed security cameras, the ones that came with cloud storage, and sent alerts to my phone. James was furious when he found out. "You changed the locks because of Rachel? That's insane. Your sister was interrogating my staff, asking about keys and safes. What am I supposed to think? She's interested in business operations. She's trying to learn. She's trying to find a way in." "You're paranoid." "Am I? Your mother tried to access my bank account. Rachel has been boundary stomping for months. Your whole family treats my business like it's communal property. Because we're going to be family. Why can't you understand that? Why can't you understand that this is my business?" We fought until he left. I sat in my apartment, staring at the engagement ring on my finger, wondering if I'd made a terrible mistake. The next month was relatively quiet. Rachel stopped coming by. Linda's visits decreased. James and I existed in a state of tense peace, avoiding topics related to his family or the business. I threw myself into work, developing new recipes, training staff, building up my savings. Something in my gut told me I needed financial security. Then I got a call from the Oregon Secretary of State's office. Miss Chen, we received paperwork to file an amendment to your LLC operating agreement. We're calling to verify because the signature doesn't match what we have on file. I went cold. What kind of amendment? Adding 2 members to Sweet Haven Bakery LLC, Linda Morrison and Rachel Morrison. The paperwork indicates they're purchasing 51% ownership. That's completely fraudulent. I haven't sold any part of my business. We suspected as much. The notary stamp also looked questionable. Would you like to file a fraud report? Yes, immediately. I drove straight to the Secretary of State's office and filed the report in person. They showed me the documents. Someone had forged my signature on an operating agreement amendment and created fake purchase agreements showing Linda and Rachel buying majority ownership for $1. $1. They'd tried to steal my business for $1. I took copies of everything and drove straight to David's office. He reviewed the documents, his expression grim. Maya, this is serious fraud. Document forgery, attempted theft, potentially wire fraud if any communications cross state lines. You need to go to the police. What about James? Do you think he knew? I don't know, but you need to protect yourself first. File a police report, get a restraining order if necessary, and whatever you do, do not marry into this family. I sat in my car outside David's office for an hour, trying to process. The woman who was supposed to become my mother-in-law had tried to steal my business using forged documents. The question was, did James know? I called him. We need to talk. In person. Now. I'm at work. I don't care. This is important. He met me at a coffee shop, not my bakery. I showed him copies of the documents. His face went pale. This can't be real. It's real. Your mother and sister tried to forge documents to steal my business. There has to be an explanation. The explanation is they committed fraud. Did you call the police? Not yet. I wanted to talk to you first. He stared at the papers, his hands shaking. My mom wouldn't do this. James, look at the documents. Look at the forged signature. This isn't a misunderstanding. Maybe Rachel did it without telling Mom. They're both listed as new owners. They both knew. He put his head in his hands. What do you want me to do? I want you to be on my side. I want you to acknowledge that your family crossed a line. I want you to support me filing a police report. He looked up, and I saw it in his eyes. He wasn't going to choose me. They're my family, Maya. I can't just turn on them. They tried to steal my business. If I support you calling the police, they'll never forgive me. And if you don't support me, I'll never forgive you. We sat in silence. Finally, he spoke. Maybe we're not right for each other. Maybe we rushed into this. I pulled off the engagement ring and set it on the table between us. Maybe you're right. I stood up and walked out. He didn't follow. The next day, I filed a police report. The detective assigned to my case, a woman named Detective Rodriguez, took my statement and examined the documents. This is pretty clear-cut fraud, she said. We'll investigate and likely press charges. Are you prepared for what comes next? This will probably destroy your relationship with your ex-fiancé's family. They already destroyed it when they tried to steal my business. Over the next 2 weeks, the police investigated. They confirmed the documents were forged, tracked down the notary whose stamp was faked, and built a case. Linda and Rachel were both charged with fraud, forgery, and attempted theft. James called me once. Did you really have to involve the police? Couldn't we have handled this privately? They committed crimes, James. Against me. They're going to have criminal records now. Rachel might go to jail. That's what happens when you forge documents to steal someone's business. I can't believe you'd do this to my family. I can't believe you'd defend them after what they did to me. He hung up. I blocked his number. The legal process took months. In the meantime, I ran my bakery, focused on my business, and tried to move on with my life. Simone was there every step of the way, reminding me that I'd done the right thing. You could have lost everything, she said over wine one night. Your business, your savings, everything you worked for. I know. And James chose them over you. I know that too. Linda and Rachel eventually pleaded guilty to reduced charges. They got probation, fines, and community service. No jail time, but criminal records. Linda's Facebook posts about being a business owner disappeared. Rachel's LinkedIn profile, which had listed her as operations manager at Sweet Haven Bakery, was deleted. James sent me one final email 6 months after everything ended. "I hope you're happy now. You destroyed my family over a misunderstanding." I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. A year later, Sweet Haven Bakery was thriving. I'd hired 3 new employees, expanded the menu, and was scouting locations for a possible second shop. Keisha became my business partner, buying a 10% stake with money she'd saved. She deserved it. On a Sunday morning, I was setting up the display case when the door chimed. A man walked in, tall, kind eyes, wearing a running jacket. "Hi, can I get a lavender honey cake and a coffee?" I smiled. "Coming right up." As I boxed the cake, he said, "I've heard amazing things about this place. Finally made it over. Well, I hope it lives up to the hype." "I'm sure it will." He paid, then paused. "I'm Marcus, by the way." "Maya." "Nice to meet you, Maya. I'll be back." He came back the next Sunday, and the Sunday after that. We started talking more each visit. He was a teacher, divorced, no drama. He thought it was incredible that I owned my own business. He never once asked if he could be involved or tried to give me unsolicited advice. On his 4th visit, he asked me to dinner. I said yes. Simone was thrilled. "See? Good men exist. Men who respect boundaries. I'm taking it slow." "Good. You deserve slow. You deserve someone who sees your business as yours, not as family property." Marcus and I dated for 6 months before it got serious. He met Simone, met my staff, came to the bakery, but never tried to interfere. He asked questions because he was genuinely interested, not because he wanted control. One evening, sitting in my apartment above the bakery, he said, "You know what I love about you? You know exactly who you are. You built something incredible on your own, and you protected it. That takes strength. It cost me a relationship. It cost you the wrong relationship. The right person would have stood with you." I thought about James, about how he'd chosen his family over me, about how he'd never seen my business as mine but as something that should be shared with people who contributed nothing. "You're right," I said. Marcus smiled. "I usually am." 2 years after the fraud charges, Sweet Haven Bakery opened its second location. Marcus was there for the ribbon cutting, along with Simone, Keisha, and my parents who'd flown in from California. News cameras showed up because the local press loved the story of a small business owner who'd fought off fraud and succeeded anyway. A reporter asked me, "Do you have any regrets about how things unfolded?" I thought about it. I regret that I didn't see the red flags sooner. I regret that I almost let people take advantage of me because I wanted to avoid conflict. But I don't regret protecting what I built. Sometimes you have to lose people to keep yourself. That night, I stood in the original Sweet Haven location after everyone left. The cases were clean, the floor swept, everything ready for tomorrow. My phone buzzed with congratulations messages. Marcus texted asking if I wanted company or if I needed time alone. I smiled. A man who understood boundaries. I typed back, "Come over, bring wine." He showed up 20 minutes later with a bottle of Pinot Noir and Thai food. "To Sweet Haven," he said, raising his glass. "To knowing your worth," I countered. We clinked glasses. I'd lost a fiancé, almost lost a business, and learned the hard way that family doesn't mean entitled. But I'd gained something more valuable. The knowledge that I could stand up for myself, that I could fight when necessary, and that the right people would respect my boundaries instead of trying to bulldoze through them. My business was mine. My life was mine. And I'd never again let anyone make me feel guilty for protecting what I built. Did you like the story? And which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you like the story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.